Ready to have your mind blown wide open.
I'm game if you are.
Let's do it. Today, we are taking a deep dive into Bernardo Kastrup's The Universe in Consciousness.
This paper is a wild ride.
It really is.
It grapples with some of the biggest questions out there.
Like, what is reality, really?
Exactly.
Where does consciousness fit into the picture?
Kastrup doesn't hold back.
He takes us on a whirlwind tour of different theories.
He weighs the evidence.
Pokes holes in some pretty popular ideas.
And ultimately, he presents a really thought-provoking alternative.
I'm excited to dig in.
Me too. Let's do it.
So where do we even begin with something as vast as consciousness?
Well, Kastrup starts by taking aim at one of the prevailing views in science: physicalism.
Physicalism, meaning everything is just like physical stuff.
Exactly. Atoms, quarks, the whole shebang.
But like, what about our experiences?
Right.
The taste of chocolate, the feeling of joy, the redness of a rose.
Physicalism struggles to explain these subjective experiences.
It's like, if everything is just physical stuff, then why does it feel like anything to be alive?
Exactly. Kastrup uses a really clever example to illustrate this point. It involves colored dots.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Hit me with it.
Imagine a field of yellow and red dots. From a distance, it looks orange, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Now swap those dots for green and yellow ones. Same spacing, same everything. The physical facts about the dots haven't changed.
But the color we see would be totally different.
Precisely. And that's Kastrup's point. Simply describing the physical arrangement misses something crucial about what it's like to have a conscious experience.
So physicalism, while appealing in its simplicity, doesn't quite capture the full picture.
Not even close.
So what's next? If it's not just physical stuff, then where does consciousness come in?
Well, one idea Kastrup explores is called bottom-up panpsychism.
Pan-whatism.
Panpsychism. It's a mouthful.
Break it down for me.
Essentially, it's the idea that even tiny particles have a teeny tiny bit of consciousness.
So like my coffee cup is conscious.
In a way, yeah. At least according to panpsychism.
That's a trippy thought. But it still doesn't quite explain how we go from tiny bits of consciousness in, like atoms, to the experience of being a whole person.
You're hitting on a major challenge for panpsychism, the combination problem.
Combination problem. Like my brain is having a combination problem trying to wrap itself around all this.
Funny, but not quite. Think of it like trying to make a pizza, a giant, delicious pizza, but instead of dough and cheese, you're using millions of scattered pepperoni bits. Each pepperoni bit represents a tiny speck of consciousness.
Okay, I'm visualizing it. A pizza universe made of consciousness pepperoni. What could go wrong?
Well, how do you get from those individual scattered bits of awareness to the unified experience you have right now, experiencing this very podcast? If every atom has its own little bit of consciousness, how do they combine to create the you that's listening?
Yeah, it's like, who's the I experiencing this pizza consciousness?
Exactly, and that's a question panpsychism struggles to answer.
So we've got physicalism struggling with the feeling of experience and panpsychism with the puzzle of unity.
You got it.
What other suspects are on Kastrup's detective board?
Well, buckle up, because the next one gets even more mind-blowing. It's called cosmopsychism.
Cosmo what now?
Cosmopsychism. It's a mouthful, I know. But the idea is actually pretty simple.
Okay, I'm listening. Simplify it for me.
It suggests that the entire universe is conscious. One big cosmic mind.
Whoa, so like we're all just part of one giant universal brain.
Kind of. It's a pretty wild idea.
It is wild, but hold on. If the universe is this one big consciousness, why do we all experience ourselves as separate?
You've hit upon the decombination problem.
Okay, first combination, now decombination. Is the universe playing some kind of cosmic game of Jenga with consciousness?
In a way, yeah. Kastrup points out that if we're all part of this single universal consciousness, then why can't I just tap into your thoughts?
Right. Why does it feel like my experiences are mine and yours are yours?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a major head-scratcher for cosmopsychism.
So we've got physicalism, panpsychism, and cosmopsychism all hitting some pretty big roadblocks. I'm starting to wonder if we'll ever crack this consciousness code.
Don't worry, we're just getting started.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, yeah. Kastrup's got a few more tricks up his sleeve. But to hear about those, you'll have to wait for the next part of our deep dive.
All right, so we ruled out physicalism and panpsychism.
And even cosmopsychism.
That universe-sized consciousness, that was a fun one.
Yeah, it's a mind bender for sure.
It feels like we've tried all the keys, but none of them unlock the mystery of consciousness.
Well, Kastrup would say we've been holding the map upside down.
Okay, now you've really lost me. A backwards map.
He's saying we need to radically shift our perspective on consciousness.
All right, I'm ready for a perspective shift.
instead of seeing consciousness as something in the universe.
Yeah, like a brainwave or some elusive energy field.
He proposes that consciousness is the universe.
Hold on, so instead of a universe full of stuff, it's a universe made of thoughts.
It's a bold claim, no doubt about it. He calls this view idealism.
Okay, I gotta be honest. Idealism makes me think of, like, unicorn posters and believing in fairy tales.
Yeah, not quite what we're talking about here.
So what kind of idealism are we talking about?
Think of it this way. Imagine a dream.
Okay, got it. I'm dreaming.
In your dream, there are trees, buildings, maybe even other people.
Yeah, my dreams get pretty wild.
But are those things really made of wood and concrete?
Now that you mention it, not really. They are made of dream stuff.
Right. They only exist within the consciousness of your dream.
Okay, so idealism, in this sense, means everything we experience is like a dream in the mind of something much bigger.
You got it. Kastrup argues that the entire universe, everything we perceive as physical, is fundamentally a manifestation of consciousness.
Okay, my brain is trying to catch up here. So if everything is consciousness, why does it feel so solid, so real? Why can't I just wish for $1 million and make it appear?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Literally.
Kastrup draws on another intriguing theory to explain this, Donald Hoffman's interface theory.
Another theory. My brain might explode.
This one is a little easier to wrap your head around, I promise.
Okay, good, because I need all the brain cells I can get at this point.
Think of your computer desktop. You've got icons, files, folders, all neatly organized.
Yeah, I try to keep it somewhat organized.
Yeah. But those icons aren't really what's going on inside the computer, are they?
True, there's a whole lot of code and data behind the scenes that I don't see.
Exactly. Hoffman suggests that our perceptions are like that desktop interface.
So we're seeing a simplified version of reality?
Precisely.
And the real reality behind the interface is consciousness.
That's what Kastrup proposes. Our senses are giving us a user-friendly version of a much deeper reality.
So, like, when I see a tree, I'm not seeing the real tree, just a kind of icon representing a tree in the mind of the universe.
It's a strange idea, but it helps explain why we experience the world the way we do.
It's like how a digital picture of a pizza can't satisfy my hunger like a real one.
Exactly. Both represent pizza, but on totally different levels of reality.
This is making my brain do backflips, but I think I'm starting to get it. But there's still one big piece of the puzzle I'm missing. The brain.
Ah, yes. The good old brain.
If consciousness isn't happening in the brain, then what's going on up there?
Kastrup's view is that the brain isn't the source of consciousness, but rather a kind of projection of it.
A projection.
Think about a movie projector. The images on the screen seem real.
Until you remember you're just staring at a blank wall.
Exactly. In the same way, our brains might be like screens, reflecting a reality that's fundamentally consciousness.
So we're like projectors casting our individual realities onto the screen of, well, I guess the universal consciousness.
It's a mind-bending metaphor, but it kind of works, right?
Yeah, it makes you think about what happens when the projector turns off, or in our case, when we die.
That's the ultimate mystery, isn't it?
It is. If we're all expressions of this one consciousness, does our individual experience just disappear?
Kastrup suggests that death might be less of an ending and more of a transformation.
A transformation. Like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly.
It's a beautiful way to think about it. The caterpillar, with its limited perspective, might think its existence is over.
But it's actually transforming into something even more magnificent.
Exactly. And maybe our individual consciousness, when it's no longer bound by the limitations of our physical bodies.
Maybe it merges back into that larger consciousness, like a drop of water returning to the ocean.
I like that analogy. The drop loses its individual form.
The water itself continues to exist, just in a different way.
It's both humbling and awe-inspiring.
It is, to think that we might be part of something so much greater than ourselves.
And that even though our individual stories might have an end,
the story of consciousness itself continues.
It really puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
It does. It makes me wonder, if we are all connected in this way, could we somehow tap into that connection more fully while we're still here?
You mean access this universal consciousness while we're still bound to our individual experience?
Yeah, like a sneak peek behind the interface.
Yeah, that's a question worth exploring.
It is, and maybe, just maybe, it's a question that Kastrup's work can help us begin to answer.
Well said. This deep dive into the universe and consciousness has been Quite the journey.
It really has. We've challenged our assumptions, explored some mind-blowing ideas.
And maybe even glimpsed a new way of understanding ourselves and the universe we inhabit.
It just goes to show there's always more to learn, more to question, and more to discover about this thing we call consciousness.
Absolutely. It's one of the greatest mysteries of all time.
And one that'll likely keep us talking for centuries to come.
Centuries, at least.
Until next time, keep those minds open, keep asking those big questions.
And keep searching for those answers wherever they might lead you.
See you all next time.